All right, happy Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome to the daily broadcast. We're coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios tonight. The air is Arctic here. If it's not where you are, because it's 100 degrees plus on the South Plains today, you need to call the Bear Arctic Air, locally owned and operated for, golly, over a generation now. They're going to treat you right. Also, if you're looking for a great career in the HVAC industry, they're looking for great people. So call the Bear, callthebear.com. Now, we got stuff to do today. Texas Tech football. Day 5 or 6, I've lost track of the number of practices. They're doing football things out at Texas Tech. And this week, look at my calendar, this week and next week, I pretty much don't pay attention to anything other than injuries. After that, we can talk. Now, we're going to talk tonight about Tech football players from the past that you thought would have a great NFL career but didn't. You were shocked after watching them at Tech that they didn't have a better NFL career than they did. Who are those players? Big 12 expansion? Just say no. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, West Texas, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com, where you start every day, including today, checking out our morning column. We got Raiderland hot links. We gave you the question of the day, talking about former Red Raiders that didn't have the career you thought they would have. Go there every morning. We got cool stuff for you, man. You need to go there. Brought to you by the Reserve, a culinary tavern in Lubbock. Whether you're just hanging out after work, whether you're going for a great Saturday or Sunday brunch. It's a cool, fun, funky menu, great drinks, relaxing atmosphere. They do show the Texas Tech games when the Red Raiders are playing, but it's not a sports bar. So, you and your wife can go and you don't feel like you're dragging her out to, some sports bar or something. And she's going to like the food as well. Also brought to you by South Plains College. A lot of great Red Raiders started off as great Texans. Enrolling right now for the fall semester. Go to South Plains College on their website, on Facebook, wherever it is. Find out what you might need to do if you've got a youngster that is looking for opportunities that way. Maybe you're looking at some continuing ed. They do a lot of great things out there. Proud to be able to represent South Plains College. The road to Raiderland runs through Levelland every day. And of course, United Supermarkets, just like Chris getting in right there on our YouTube channel. Everybody who communicates, everybody who jumps in and chats with us tonight. Get your comments and questions in. Brought to you by United Supermarkets and MarketStreet.com. And then, Western wear. You need it. You want it. Boot City. One money saved a mile outside the West Loop. Sales still going on. Great boot selections for the fall. Maybe it's time to start looking for that new cowboy hat for the fall. Felt. You know what to do. Go to Boot City. Tell Cody and his crew out there we said hello. All right, it's up to you guys right now. Yes, indeed, Chris, the talking box is on, and there are a lot of people who still use that today, going on years and years, who have no idea where that came from and how it started and whatever. Love that. Love the fact. Jacob is on X, and that's not a drug. That's actually the communication that, thanks to United, you can get with us. X is on now. We just need our Facebook people. Usually the Facebook people are the first ones in. So we'll get the Facebook people in. We'll get going. We can talk about where Tech football is right now, but I'm serious when I say this week and next week, I really don't pay attention to a lot of things other than who's hurt, who's out there. You're going to hear about position battles. You're going to hear about so-and-so look good. You're going to hear this and that. But until we get to August 19th, 2 weeks out, from game day, nothing really fleshes out. And that's when I go, okay, who can go? Who can play? That's why that week is the week I usually make my season predictions. And there are a lot of people who like to get in early. Now you can, depending on where you live and where you're watching this broadcast, you can get on the season win totals over under, 7.5, 8.5, whatever they're hanging out there for Texas Tech. But I'm not going to make a season prediction until I know who's out there for the season and what this team is going to look like. So for the next week, 2 weeks, monitor the injuries. All right? Monitor that. Anything nagging, anything they start to kind of hem and haw on, pay attention to that. Beyond that, what you're going to get, is, hey, Mike Hudson caught a pass today. That's his job. Taj Brooks, who they are limiting, as well they should, his exposure in training camp. We call it training camp, August camp, fall. We used to call it 2 days. Nobody does 2 days anymore. Yeah, he's going to be there. So then we start looking at Cameron Valdez. the Exxon Valdez of running backs. Now, that makes no sense whatsoever. I tried to come up with a nickname for that years ago, and nobody remembers the Exxon Valdez. And that's probably a good thing because it was a negative deal. So we have today, though, I want you to give us, if you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or otherwise, the former Tech football players that you were shocked didn't have a better NFL career coming out of Texas Tech. That they went to the league, they were at Texas Tech, they had, a good career, a great career, whatever it may be, that it surprised you, it shocked you that they weren't better in the NFL for different reasons. So we can go back over many decades and look at different players and different reasons why it didn't work out. I asked this to a friend of mine today, and the first person he said was Michael Crabtree. And I'm like, well, he played in the league. He was in the league for a decade. He was never dominant all-pro, obviously didn't have a Hall of Fame career. Why did you think he was going to have that? Well, he was so great at Texas Tech. Well, yeah. But you look at the time frame he played, the air raid era, the stats and everything else, you look at that and you go, okay, why didn't it translate to the NFL? Well, they weren't doing what Tech was doing. He went to the NFL and played a different game for most of his career than he played at Texas Tech. Exactly. And CJ shows up on Facebook, thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street. There's one grocery store around here that sends money down to Austin. There's one that sends it to Lubbock. You guys know which one it is. CJ goes Graham Harrell. All right. Great. Great name to throw out. I can remember sitting in the Jones Stadium press box, and where I sat, you were kind of near at the time a lot of NFL scouts that would be in. And I had a great conversation with an NFL scout. I will not say the team name. It was an NFC team. And we were talking about Harrell. We were talking about really specifically air raid quarterbacks. And the thing he mentioned to me that day, that night specifically, was the problem we have. This is when Graham Harrell's in college, okay? So go back. The problem we have in evaluating these guys is they don't ever go under center. We don't know if they can take a snap. Does anyone know what happened on Graham Harrell's first play in the NFL? Anyone? Bueller? Whether you're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, X, or otherwise. I thought Jonathan Garibay was a no miss, also Mark Bounds. Kickers are kickers. You got to put kickers over here. You go to camp, you got like 3 kicks with a team, and if you shank one or you don't look good, you're out of there. They treat kickers dime a dozen. Yeah, he fumbled the snap under center. He fumbled the snap. That was the biggest, hardest transition that all the air raid quarterbacks had going into the NFL in the Mike Leach era in the 2000s, from Cliff Kingsbury to B.J. Simmons to everybody else, is that was a league that was still predominantly quarterback under center. That you had to take the snap first. You had to execute the snap. And I know that sounds like, well, that's easy. No, it's really not. And if you hadn't done it for 4 years or however long, it's really hard. Then you've got to turn your back to the defense, drop back, catch half the field that way and do that. Those guys didn't do it. They saw the field out of the gun every play. So it never surprised me necessarily that the air raid era quarterbacks in the 2000s didn't translate, because the NFL wasn't doing that right then. Fake Natalie Main, he gives back to Tech. Putting your name on the ribbon boards is a Learfield, not Tech. No, Learfield pays Tech. United gives to Tech. United paid vast monies for the United Supermarkets Arena. United gives vastly more to Texas Tech than HEB does. You can argue with it, but you'll lose. Vastly more over the years and currently. So, fake Natalie Maines, you'd be wrong on that one. I thought Jay Samara would have made it bigger impact in the NFL. That's a really good one. And he was at different times injured. Well, he goes to Tennessee. I can't remember the other, New York, a couple of teams. And he was never completely healthy. And it was at a time, though, that Amaro was a perfect flex in, tight end, whatever you want to do. The Shockey era, Graham, all those guys. It was a perfect time for Amaro. And he just was never right. He just never really got going. That's a really good example of a guy that you would have thought would have had a better career, a more impactful career. Chris says it. It's a fact. And there you go. Billy Joe had all the tools. I thought he would be a long-time starter. Billy Joe Tolliver, drafted by the Chargers in the 3rd round, I believe. And he played forever, incredibly smart, great football IQ, everything else. It never seemed to work wherever he went. He forced a lot of passes. And I think that would be the thing with Tolliver and I've heard him talk about this over the years, that he got away with a lot of passes at the college level because of the arm strength and everything else. So I'm going to compare him to a guy similar era, Jeff George at Illinois, who goes into the league and can throw it through a car wash without the ball getting wet. And Tolliver had a little bit of that at different times in his career, that he would try to thread the needle too much. He would try to do too much on a single pass. He ended up having a nice long career, almost one of the longest tenured careers. You got Joe Walter, offensive lineman for the Bengals. You got Tolliver. I think those are the top 2, maybe tenured in the NFL. But, and again, we go back to he graduates in 88, 89 draft. We're still in a prototype drop back NFL league. You would have thought it would have been better. His just willingness to throw it too many times into places he shouldn't, and inaccuracy at the other times probably cost him. Chris, a lot of it too has to do with what team they end up with. Imagine if Mahomes got drafted by the Bears, or if he goes to a dysfunctional team like the Arizona Cardinals, which was very real at the time. So I agree with you. It's the right time, right fit. You've got to be in the right place. A guy I thought, one of my guys that I wrote down when we were doing this, was James Gray, coming out in 1989, 1990 draft. He goes to camp, he gets an ankle injury. And James Gray was never fast. James Gray was a great college running back, but he was never fast, not a breakaway guy. And he gets to camp, he gets hurt 2 years in a row, can't move, can't cut. And now at the NFL level, everybody looks like you. Oh, that's nice. You had 1725 or whatever rushing, or maybe that was Bam's number or whatever it was. Oh, you had 25 touchdowns in a year. Oh, yeah, we don't care. In an era of running backs, James Gray, the timing, the injuries, and that's it. You're done. David Collier, Quebec 28 sports director, who might know a thing or two about this. He's also on the radio from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Here in Lubbock, so check it out. He's always better at crochet than needlepoint. Actually, he was better at cooking. He used a lot of Betty Crocker references when he was at Texas Tech, talking about Tolliver. If Mahomes would have gone to the Cowgirls, he would be playing minor league baseball. Yeah. CJ, Ricky Williams, his only good year was the Super Bowl with the Redskins. I think maybe you are confusing Ricky Williams with, oh gosh, and I just blanked out on his name. I got to do that. Super Bowl rushing record at the time, out of Hobbs, New Mexico, Texas Tech running back. Holy crap, I just blanked out on his name. What are we doing here? Somebody help me out. Yeah. Reggie Sanders. Yeah. Oh my gosh, come on now. Help me out. Timmy Smith. Thank you. I got there before it was posted. CJ's thinking about Timmy Smith. Timmy Smith comes out of Hobbs. Here's when I first heard about Timmy Smith. So about 1982 or 83, he's playing at Hobbs, and they play Monterey out there at Lowry Field. And he rushes for over 300 yards against the Plainsmen. And they don't play him in like most of the second half. So he comes to Texas Tech, and he becomes the off-injured Timmy Smith. He literally tears up his ACL, hurts his knee, going into the end zone against New Mexico one night, and pretty much never seen from again. So he ends up in the league with the Washington Redskins in 1985, 86. This is before his troubles with the law. And he goes off in that Super Bowl against the Broncos. The Doug Williams, how long have you been a black quarterback? All my life. Super Bowl. And sets the rushing record in the Super Bowl. He gets fat. He gets out of shape. He shows up at training camp with the Cowboys in the early 90s when, Jimmy Johnson's there. They put him on the asthma field. He's out of there. He's gone. And then he ends up on New Mexico's most wanted child support list. I have no idea where he is today. Don't know. But, yeah, he almost falls into a what might have been, that could have been all-time Hall of Famers out of Texas Tech, because the dude was great, but he couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the T. Yeah, Timmy Smith. Sorry, it took a while to get there. What happened to Hobbs and Clovis? Didn't they used to be decent at football? Yeah, they're in New Mexico. That's what happened to them. We're asking you tonight your top former Red Raiders who didn't have the NFL career you thought they would have. We can talk about potential Big 12 expansion, to which we say no. John Wilner, the Wilner hotline, no longer the Pac-12 hotline, now just the Wilner hotline, opining over the last few days about, Oregon State and Washington State in the Big 12. And no. And to Brett Yormark, who's watching this show right now, I know he is. Brett, you know it. I know it. The American people know it. There's no need to take them. You've got the best of the Pac-12. Let them hang. They bring nothing. They do nothing for you. And he knows that. But there are still those out there that are banging the drum for inclusion. And I guess it would be diversity, and equity and inclusion to get them in. No, we're not taking you. We don't need you in the Big 12. You will drag us down. You are the fat man in the water with the Titanic sinking, trying to drag the lifeboat down. You're going to die. Let go of the lifeboat. Next Big 12 expansion will be East. I agree with that. The only reason to go and expand would be a Florida State, Clemson, something along those lines, if you want to solidify yourselves on the Eastern Coast. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we're going to break football out. We're not really going to care anymore. We're going to be realigned within our geographic alignment in our divisions. So it doesn't matter. That's the big thing. People are going to jack their jaw about expansion and conferences and stuff. And in football, it does not matter. You're done. Be done with it. Randy Ronald Roberts was promoting bringing in UNM from his Shadow X account. I don't know anything about what you're talking about right there, but I'll take it and maybe somebody else can clarify. What is Shadow X? That's one of them Marvel guys, right? Shadow X, Marvel superhero. Why would you expand? Why would you take any team? Really, and I mean, really, if I'm in the Big 12 right now, why would I take Florida State or any of those others when I think it's going to be ripped apart fairly soon? Just sit tight. Be cool. Like Fonzie. Can we be cool like Fonzie? Can you be cool? Be cool like Fonzie. If we can be cool like Fonzie, everybody walks out of here alive and we go to the next level. If we can't be cool like Fonzie, well, things are going to happen. Chris, conference realignment is there, so we have something to talk about over the summer. True. Guilty as charged. Thank you. I have milked that for, good God, nearly 30 years. Guilty as charged. From the days of Arkansas leaving the Southwest Conference, Notre Dame signing their own TV contract, all those things. Yep, hi there. I was that guy. Made a living on it on talk shows, going back to Raider Talk on KTXT 88.1 FM. I can't remember which night we were on. I think we were on Tuesday nights from 7 to 8. Chris, I bet Yormark can turn on the jukebox by hitting it. Yes, absolutely. With his elbow. Gonna give the little Fonzie shove. Now, Let's see how good Chris is. He hits it. What song comes on? What song comes on when Fonzie hits the jukebox? And he had to hit it twice one episode to get the right song on. Even Richie Cunningham appreciated this. I'm going to see how good you guys are. This ought to be good. You know? This ought to be good. Let's see what happens. So, former Red Raiders who did not have the career in the NFL you thought they would have. I got you stumped on that one? All right. We'll see if anybody else remembers. We'll see if anybody else remembers. For different reasons, different guys don't have great careers in the NFL for different reasons. The biggest reason you don't have a career in the NFL is you get hurt. That unless you're a first round draft pick, maybe a second round, that you get hurt early on. Any sort of injury that slows you down, you get passed. That's it. They've not invested a ton of money in you. They move on to the next guy, and you get hurt once, you get hurt a second time. Like, Josh Young, if he were an NFL player, and I guess we could say because he was first rounder, they would probably hang in there with him. But if Josh Young were having the NFL career he's having in the Major League Baseball, they'd be like, we're not going to worry about it that much. We'll find a guy that looks like you. Chew you up, spit you out kind of league. So for the most part, guys who haven't had a great career, it's been because of injuries. Some of it may be teams that they went to, bad fit. Then there are those guys who had long careers, and you're just like, okay, I knew he was a good player. I knew he was good, but I didn't expect him to hang around the league. Josélio Hansen played for 30 years in the NFL. How? How did that happen? CJ, poor Gabe Rivera would have had an awesome career. Missed that he didn't. Yeah, he gets drunked up one night at Steelers training camp, wrecks his Corvette, paralyzed from the waist down. Would have been the defensive line version of Lawrence Taylor, 100%. Would have been. Amazing, would have been, could have been. If you look at the conferences of 30 years ago, before everyone expanded, that will be your divisions in Super League, so why expand now? Joseph is very smart. We hoist up a beverage to Joseph. Joseph could be a TV executive telling college football what's going to happen. Nailed it, Joseph. James is on Facebook. I would have thought Kingsbury and Harold both would have done better in the NFL. I guess they were ahead of their time. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and maybe you probably just got in. Not playing under center at a time when you had to play under center was a huge detriment to Kingsbury for sure, and Graham Harrell. I mean, literally, he fumbles the snap on his first NFL play under center. Kingsbury's problem. Wow, I think I swallowed a bug. The hell is that? Kingsbury's problem is he didn't have a great arm. He had a good arm. Don't get me wrong. Slightly better than mine. Slightly. But he was really loose with his targets once you got beyond about 15 yards. And the NFL at the time demanded just a laser beam, 10 to 15 yard out route between the sideline and the numbers. That really wasn't his forte. He was really loose going downfield with that. Now, what he was really good at was getting the ball out quickly out of the pocket with quick reads, which the NFL wasn't doing at the time. None of that was asked of the quarterback for the most part at the time when he goes to the NFL. So if he comes out 15 years later, Kingsbury probably stays in the league 10, 12 years, backup quarterback level. The arm doesn't get any better. You can't do anything about the arm. But he would have been allowed to do things that he was good at in certain systems. Kingsbury played behind Tom Brady too. Yeah, but that wasn't what kept him from hanging around. Trust me on that. All right, nobody remembers the song from Happy Days that when Fonzie went over, and hit the jukebox and turn it on without having to put any money in, like Ralph Malph and Potsy. Everybody else, you don't honestly, you don't remember. David Collier should remember. I assume all you got when you were in Japan was like bad reruns of TV shows like that. KMAC 28 Sports Director, Red Raider Nation. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. Seriously, y'all remember that? I found my thrill. Boom. That was a song. That was the song. Was Fonzie the guy that was in Waterboy? How old are you, Randy? I'll answer the question when Randy tells me how old he is. When you tell me how old you are, I will answer the question. That's right. Fats Domino. James, as for the Big 12, I don't really want to add teams, but I think quantity might help us out. You got quantity right. You got all the inventory that the networks need for right now. They came to Okinawa to play softball when I was there. The Happy Days crew? That's cool. It's awesome. I will answer Randy's question when he tells me how old he is. Yeah, you don't need any more inventory if you're the Big 12 right now from a partner standpoint. And if we really believe that this thing is going to move towards a football only thing, what's the point in opening up the contracts, doing anything else? Just sit tight. It's all going to be broken up anyways. Just if I'm Yormark, a great card player like Yormark, a great bettor like Yormark, a great businessman like Yormark, when you're kind of sitting in a position of strength at the table and you don't have to hit again. You can stand. I think the Big 12 can stand right now. The SEC is not going to take in ACC teams right now. Big Ten's not going to do it because the Big Ten, the only thing the Big Ten wants right now, and it doesn't matter because again, it's going to get gobbled up by the networks, is Notre Dame. So that's all past. That's all gone. Now it's just strengthen what you have, put out good products, show you're willing to commit to football, and Texas Tech has, and that's all I really care about. And then we wait for the contracts to unravel, and you go from there. There aren't going to be new contracts. I can't answer the question, Randy. I want to know how old you are. Will Tech be in with the old Southwest Conference teams when the conferences die? You'll be in a regional pairing, just like the NFL for the most part, other than Dallas, really, which is the last vestige of Dallas demanded under Clint Murchison and ownership that when they came into the league, they wanted to be in the NFC East because they wanted to be on in New York, Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia. That's where the money was going to be. So other than that, yeah, you will have regional, not conferences, divisions, just like the NFL. Who's the dealer? If it's the Big Ten, you have to hit. You can't stay at 16. I don't know. Can you? You can. What's dealer showing? What am I looking at? I mean, you can stand at 16. And am I sitting at third base? Do I know what everything, or am I playing first base? So I think if I'm the Big Ten, I think I'm probably sitting right now at third base. And I know what they've got. Ain't nobody else doing nothing. Why does it have to be 18? What more do they get at the end of the day if they go 18? If it's going to be torn apart, and to do 18, you got to extend the rights, and nobody wants to extend the rights any more than what we've got right now because we want to coalesce college football away from the NCAA. So, we're playing two different games here. No, I don't think it's just 18. It's got to be at that. What does it get you at the end? Nothing. And why do they give you more money? Everybody they bring in now is inferior. Everybody they bring in now is inferior to everybody they have right now. Yes, that was who Fonzie is. That's the guy. 100%. I want to hear more, by the way, Collier, on the Okinawa softball thing. I'll go a little bit overtime tonight. If you can tell me, like, they sent a bunch of TV stars, they sent ABC specifically, they sent Happy Days people specifically. Was Joni there? Who all was there on this deal? And that's the way we got Japan on our side. Sorry about the 2 nuclear bombs. Here's Henry Winkler. They're selling reverse mortgages today. It's pretty good. They're not I'm not giving you investment advice here. They're not as horrible as they were years ago, but still. And it's good to see Magnum PI have something to do these days. It really is. It was the Happy Days crew. Pretty sure Henry Winkler wasn't there. Crush me being a fellow Arthur. Thank you. Arthur Fonzarelli. All right, we've done all we can do. The next thing you can do is share this, put it out there on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and otherwise. We archive everything we do at theraiderland.com. Please go there every day. Check out our morning column, the Raiderland hot links, all the cool stuff that we can find. We share it. Sometimes even David Collier, his stuff makes it from KMAC 28 Red Raider Nation. Watch him. Are you on TV tonight? Last thing I'm going to ask you, Collier. Are you on TV at 10 o'clock tonight? If so, I might stay up. If not, I don't know. Might go to bed early. But check out our website every day. And if you want to do stuff for us, our great sponsors like The Reserve, South Lanes College, Boot City United Supermarkets, Arctic Air Studios, beautiful studios. If you want to do something for them, share what we do here. Okay, I'll go to bed anyways. Sounds like a deal. I'll tell you one thing, though. I ain't watching you in bed anymore. That's weird and off-putting.